Racing takes place on Saturday, the 20th of May 2023 at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth. We are racing on the winter course, and we've got a whopping 10-race program for you to look forward to, with the first commencing at 11:45. It is, of course, leg 2 of the winter series. We see the World Sports Betting Legal Eagle Stakes and the World Sports Betting Ladies Mile, the Grade 3 event and listed event, respectively. I'm joined by Graham Hawkins. And Graham, how are you doing? Looking forward to 10 races on the card. It does look to be a decent card, and a card where I think punters could make a bit of money.
It is a very interesting card, 10 races, early start, first race at 11:45 with a 200,000 Rand restricted maiden Juvenile plate. So obviously the exotic start with the bipod in race 2, and we've got 2 very nice features.
Absolutely. Now race number 1 over 1,200 meters will be the start of the race meeting, of course, and it is the maiden Juvenile plate. The bipod will commence in race number 2. So race number 1, obviously we've got a few horses that come into the race and they're threatening to win. Your early favourite in this lineup is horse number 3, Coastal Commander, at 2-1. It's 5-2 about Harajuku. Captain Arrow is at 9-2, and then it's 12-1 and Better Bar. Now I thought in race number 1, this horse Coastal Commander, he put up a cracking run on debut. He was just beaten by 1 bet on the day. That horse Lushlui had the experience under the belt. And maybe that's what just caught him out at the end of it all when you look back at it. But I think he should go very close to winning, and he's going to be the firm first choice for me in race number 1.
It does look the pick of the trio. It does look a 3-cornered contest in the absence of any support for the first-timers. Number 3, Coastal Commander, was expected to run well on debut. There was more market support. The Vaughan Marshall stable is in pretty good form now down in the Western Cape. Craig Zaki takes the ride. He rode a winner for Vaughan during the course of the week. So Coastal Commander, definitely the one to beat. But Captain Arrow, I know, has been frustrating, but when you look at what's beaten him, you've got to take note. You know, second to Icy Blast, second to Blue Holly, who came out and ran a good race in a feature race the other day, second to Silver Crown. 4 lengths behind him on that occasion were Speed Racer and Underworld, and they came out and ran first and second during the course of the week. So all round, although Captain Arrow has been disappointing in that it keeps getting beat, those form lines have stood up well. And then Harajuku, of course, caught the eye with a wonderful debut effort. Craig Bantam rode him on that occasion. He was dropped out towards the rear of the field and came flying up in the end to run second, well beaten by Teflon Man. Being by Denon Platina, he may well prefer further than 1,200 metres, but obviously the Richard Fareed, Justin Snaith combination in such good form, you can't write them off. So I think it is those 3 horses. I'm sorry this is not the first leg of the bipod. The first leg of the bipod race 2 is a lot trickier than this one. Coastal Commander, Captain Arrow, Harajuku, the obvious 3 stand out.
Absolutely, those do look to be the 3 horses that could fight out the finish, and possibly to get your day started, a trifecta box with numbers 1, 3 and 8 in race number 1. Next up will be race number 2 on the program, and race number 2 kicks off the bipod, 1,200 meters the distance. Get your bets on by 12:20, and this is a maiden Juvenile plate yet again, where Onisan is your favorite at 3-1. It's then 9-2 about Lipsic, 6-1 and Better Bar. Those now. Horse number 11, Onisan, Anthony Andrews, he retains the ride after this horse ran a much better race last time out behind October Morn, and October Morn was far from disgraced in a feature just the other day, running second to Stable Companion, and she looks to be a promising sort. So Onisan, obviously the one that comes into the race with possibly the best form, and she's a horse that can take a step further and maybe go close to winning here.
She should give us a very good run for our money. I think this is quite a tricky start to the bipod, because it wouldn't surprise me if first-timers ran first and second. I'm not sure that the form amongst the race runners is that convincing, but we can only work with what we've got. And number 11, Onisan, looks the pick of those that have run before. Beat Lip Sync in the run behind October Morn, and should confirm that form. Lip Sync, by the way, does carry 60 and not 57.5 as printed in the card. Does carry 60, number 8, Lip Sync. That run behind October Morn was a good one for Onisan. Vaughan Marshall again could open up the meeting with winners in races 1 and 2. Lip Sync last time out ran second to Summer Lily. Behind that was Lady Mallorca, ran third, and she fluffed her lines during the course of the week. So Lady Mallorca didn't do too much for that form line for Lip Sync during the course of the week. But there's not much form to work on. Trey Schick obviously has scope for improvement. Royal Lytham has scope for improvement, but there are a number of well-bred first-timers that haven't yet found market support but may well do so. Number one, Lady Lookalike. The pedigree catches the eye, and Louis Mkotwa rides for Brett Crawford. They were in good form in the week. And Lady Luck from the Andre Nell stable, a filly by Vercingetorix out of Cover Page, was a 650,000 Rand purchase from Narrow Creek Stud. And there are other first-timers, Vic's Princess, etc., all of which might find a bit of support. But in the absence of a market springer, I would go with number 11, Onisan.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned number 7, Royal Rhythm, because I thought this filly could improve. She was fancied on debut and she ran a disappointing race. I think that with the step up in trip and the run under the belt, she could make significant improvement. But as you heard from Graham, it is quite a tricky start to the bipot, and keep a very close eye on the market and see if there are any market moves for the first timers. But narrow first choice will be number 11, Onisan, and for myself, I'm going to go each way on number 7, Royal Rhythm. Race number 3, 1200 meters the distance, and this is going to be the start of the place accumulator. 12:55 is the Cape Racing maiden plate, and this lineup here, there is quite a bit of form to work with. Cafe Culture, William West obviously do look to be the two horses that could dominate this race, but for me, I'm going to be with the 2-year-old in this lineup, Graham. I think that William West has got far more improvement to come, and I think that the step up to 1200 meters is what this individual is looking for. Richard Fourie aboard, and I think he'll go close to winning in this event.
He does put his hand up in a big way for this race. The opening leg of the place accumulator is lightly raced, as you say, is a 2-year-old with a ton of scope for further improvement. If you took out his second run and he only judged him on the fact that he ran second to Speeding Bullet on debut and third to Elusive Winter against older horses last time out, then he's a clear first choice. Cafe Culture ran his best race last time behind Lunch Money. Lunch Money runs later on in this race meeting. So you've got to respect number 10, Cafe Culture. He's got a lovely pedigree coming along the right way. So these two do stand out head and shoulders above those that have raced before, 9, William West, and 10, Cafe Culture. And William West should be enough for the place accumulator. If you really want to play it safe, then you include both numbers 9 and 10. But there is some market respect for, again, Vaughan Marshall's runner, number 6, Questioning, the 2-year-old son of Kerari. Craig Zaki takes the ride for Vaughan Marshall. 11-2 in the early betting. If that one shortens, then you've got to take note, because I don't think this race will take a lot of winning. And if Questioning is well above the average, and he may well be, then you've got to respect him. One Future Gem is a first-timer from the Snaith stable. That's been priced up at 8-1. Might just need a little bit further than the 1200 metres based on pedigree. And the fact that Richard Fourie has opted to ride William West is a clear indication that William West is a stable elect. So yes, 9 William West from 10 Cafe Culture. But what's the betting on number 6, Questioning?
You mentioned the betting. He has been supported 4-1 now by Questioning, so the money is certainly there early on. So keep a very close eye on horse number 6 from the Vaughan Marshall yard with Craig Zaki aboard. He could just be the horse that could possibly topple numbers 9 and 10, who do look to dominate race number 3. And as you heard from Graham, number 9, William West, he should be good enough for the place accumulator. Race number 4, which will be the start of the pick 6, and this is an open maiden over 1200 meters, so it's yet another race over 1200 meters, and you need to get your pick 6 bets on by 1:30 on the Saturday. It is an open maiden, fillies and mares. Favorite Apple Catcher at 2-1. It's then a Simply Beautiful at 7-2. Look Forward is at 6-1. On Board 7-1. Lady Renee, it's 8-1. And Better Bar. Those now Apple Catcher, she was set to run a few weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. We obviously previewed the show and she was subsequently scratched, but her last start, disappointing run. I think we can expect a lot better from her come Saturday. She's obviously got a giveaway weight, which is not going to be easy, but her first 2 runs catches the eye. Touch of Grace, here Komi Boki, they've gone on. They aren't one-time winners, they're 3-time winners now. So I definitely believe Apple Catcher is certainly the one that they all have to beat, returning after a disappointing last effort.
Well, her disappointing last run was at Hollywoodbets Durbanville around the corner. Her course and distance form reads 2 starts for 2 seconds. If she hadn't run at Hollywoodbets Durbanville on the 25th of March, I know she did, but if she hadn't, she'd be odds on in this race with Richard Fourie up. The second to Touch of Grace, now a winner of 4. The second to Hirkomi Boki, now multiple winners, you've pointed out. So that form over this track and trip is exceptionally strong. And I know these maiden handicaps are the bane of our lives, and it is a maiden handicap, and it's the first leg of the pick 6. You certainly don't want to go out. But Apple Catcher with Richard Fourie aboard, cheek pieces go on, the blinkers come off, and she should give a very good account of herself back over a course and distance that she's shown really good form over. Look Forward, gets a bit of weight though. She carries 55 and Apple Catcher carries 60. And all of a sudden, Look Forward has found its feet, running second in the last 2 starts. One at Hollywoodbets Durbanville and one at Kenilworth. I'm not sure the form is as strong, but 5 kilos could be the leveler. So these maiden handicaps, as I say, are the bane of our lives. Lady Renee carries 53, gets 7 kilograms from Apple Catcher. Dawn of Gold is an interesting first-timer that could be fancied on debut. On Board, what you see is what you get. And Simply Beautiful, well, she's turning into something of a professional maiden. She gets 1.5 kilos from Apple Catcher because Elder de Meyer will put up a 0.5 kilogram on the daughter of Coup de Gras. But she's game, she's consistent, you're going to get a good run for your money. But I do think, notwithstanding the fact that she's giving weight away all round, the form book says Apple Catcher will win.
Could we be willing to take our chances and bank her?
Yeah, I'm going to bank her.
Number 7, Apple Catcher, we're going to bank her this one, yeah. And she's certainly the horse to beat. Richard Furry and Patty Cray are hoping that they can team up here and get this filly into the winner's enclosure. Race number 5, 1,800 meters the distance. It's a maiden plate that's set to go off at 2:05. This is the start of Jackpot 1, and it's a maiden plate where we do have a bit of form to work with here. Number 4, Green Mandarin, terribly unlucky in his last start. Richard Furry aboard once again. He was beaten 2.5 lengths behind Legal Chit Chat. Should have probably finished a lot closer to the action. Final edition, good second last time out behind Kelp Forest. And then we've got Marshall Field, who morning winner now, right? So Marshall Field 5-2, Green Mandarin 3-1, final edition 7-2. Then it's 5-1 and better Bardos. Now, I know that there is quite a bit of form here, Graham, but I'm strongly in the camp of number 5 final edition. I think that he's ready to crack his maiden. Last time out at one point in the race, I actually thought he beat Kelp Forest, but Kelp Forest fought back gamely. He got the job done. I think this horse stepping up to 1,800 meters, it's going to unlock further improvement from him, and I think he's the one to beat. I'm going to take my chances, bank him in the start of Jackpot 1, place accumulator banker, and Loom Courtois, Brett Crawford. I'm hoping that this could be the first leg of a double on the day for them.
I think he is the right first choice. I'm not as confident as you are in terms of a banker in the jackpot and possibly the pick 6, maybe the place accumulator, yes. The way I analyze this race is that many of these horses ran behind Donderstorm last time. In fact, 8 of them ran behind Donderstorm, and on that occasion, Gimme the Best ran second, Run Rudolph ran third, and Marshall Field ran fourth. I'm comfortable and confident that Marshall Field will beat all of those that he met last time. So I'm happy that Marshall Field will beat them. He meets Run Rudolph Run on a kilo better terms. He was also a little bit unlucky in his last run. He should probably have won that race. So Marshall Field, for me, coming out of that form line. But like you, I have healthy respect for Final Edition. He's a 3-year-old son of Dynasty. He's improving with each run. He's only had 3 starts, and his last was his best. And going 1,800 meters, as you've said, is a step in the right direction. But it was a very weak field that he ran against at Hollywoodbets Durbanville. I analysed that race closely, and but the fact is heading in the right direction. And then Green Mandarin, you see, they all come out of different form lines. Yes. So I'm going to include the 3 in my jackpots and pick 6s. I'm going to include number 4 Green Mandarin, number 5 Final Edition, and number 6 Marshall Field. They come out of 3 different form lines. I'm happy that Marshall Field will beat everything that he raced against last time out. But I'm happy to make Final Edition my first selection based on the fact that he's a 3-year-old son of Dynasty from an informed stable for the Hollywood Syndicate, and he's going the right way. The 1,800 meters will be right up his alley.
Yeah, numbers 4, 5, and 6, certainly the principal contenders. They do dominate the market, and those do look to be the 3 horses that will fight out race number 5 on the card. But both Graham and myself, we're in the camp of number 5 Final Edition, and hoping that he can get it right at the 4th time of asking. Next up will be race number 6, which is another maiden. This is an open maiden, 1,600 meters the distance, and it is for the fillies and mares. This is going to be the run at 14:40. Jackpot 2 will begin in race number 7, as it is a 10-race program. And race number 6, I think this is a race that has got the making of an upset written all over it. This horse, Blind Faith, I think can improve. Last time out, it was a much better run when she stepped up to 1,400 meters. Was not beaten far behind Hang Out the Stars. Beaten 2 lengths on that occasion, and the top 3 were clear off the rest of the field. I think that she can improve now that she's going over 1,600. And then number 4, Bocop. She's obviously a horse that showed absolutely nothing on debut. She drifted out in the market. But I think 1,600 meters, we could see a bit of improvement from this filly. We're not quite sure what sort of ability she has. But if she can improve, she's come on with a run, I think she could be there or thereabouts. So numbers 4 and 5, I think those two could possibly be the upset packages here.
You're right that number 4, Boerkaap, is the key horse in the race. She has a 5-star pedigree. As you mentioned, we don't know how good she is. She's by Sylvana out of that great mare, Our Table Mountain. If there's any money for her, you've got to respect that. She's drawn neatly. She steps up from 1,200 metres to 1,600 metres, a distance that'll be much more to her liking. She'll probably even prefer 2,000 metres. This, again, is a maiden handicap. So having only had the one start, she carries top weight of 60 kilograms or joint top weight of 60 kilograms, which doesn't make it easy for her, but the market will tell us a story. You like a little bit of number 5, Blind Faith, to improve, and obviously she is improving, and she only carries 53.5 in this maiden handicap, so she definitely is a runner. But I quite like number 9, Fallow and Cora. I know she's been around for a very long time. Richard Faree takes the ride for Justin Snaith. She's game, she's consistent, and she has every chance of winning this. She is a worthy favourite in my book. She's got 57, so she's giving away 3.5 to Blind Faith. She could be able to do that. Godex Afia only has 53 kilograms, so she's got to have a chance. Go Like Flow, what you see is what you get. She's game and consistent, 57.5. Now, I know you told me off air you can't have number 2, Flirty Dancer. Makes her debut in the Western Cape, having previously raced in KwaZulu-Natal. I just want to remind you, though, that Des McLaughlin brought out World's Best the other day to win with a very similar profile. Hadn't run since November. That one came from the Highveld to the Cape, and World's Best delivered a winning performance first up for Des McLaughlin. And who knows, this is so moderate that Flirty Dancer could do the same. I think you said it right, you called it right. This race is ripe for an upset. I make Fallow and Cora. I think she sets the standard and almost certainly will run into the money. But I think from the exotics point of view, you've got to go a little wider.
Certainly keep an eye on horse number 2, Flirty Dancer, for Morne Winner aboard for the Des McLaughlin yard. And who knows, she could possibly improve and get it right down in the Cape. But Graham he's going to be with number 9, Fallow and Cora. She does look to be the right horse on paper, but as we've mentioned, it is the type of race where we can see an upset, and I'm going to be with number 5, Blind Faith, in race number 6. Race number 7, which is the first of our features on the day. This is the World Sports Betting Ladies Mile. It is a listed event set to be run over 1,600 meters. Get your jackpot 2 bets on by 3:15. And your favorite here is Happy Chance at 22-10. It is 9-2 about Love is a Rose, Quinter's Light, and then it's 5-1 in Better Bardos. Now this is the second leg of the double for the same combination. Loom Courtois, Brett Crawford, Hollywood Syndicate. I think Happy Chance is going to take a power beating. She beat Quinter's Light last time out over 1,400 meters. She's got Quinter's Light absolutely stone cold on that run. I think 1,600 meters is perfect for this filly. She's having a third run after rest, so it's a peak run. And I see her taking all the beating in this race, Graham.
We're not going to argue here. If you look at the pick 6, we're agreeing that we're pretty much bankering Apple Catcher in the first leg. I know you're keen on maybe even bankering Final Edition in the second leg, but I'm going to go 4, 5, and 6 in the second leg. The third leg, we've said, is a potential upset, so you might want to go the whole field or leave 1 or 2 out if you really don't think some of them can win. But here, number 7, Happy Chance. This is the second leg, as you say, of the Winter Series for the girls. It's the World Sports Betting Ladies Mile, listed over 1,600 meters. She won the first leg over 1,400 meters. I think she'll win again. I'm happy to take my chances with the Daughter of Dynasty. Happy chance to win this race and make her a banker. Quinter's Light, as you've mentioned, she's well held at the weights, and I think that Quinter's Light 1,600 meters is stretching her. I think for Love is a Rose, it may be on the short side. So for me, the principal threat would be number 10, Gold Poker Game, would be the biggest danger, and also number 1 going up. The 2 Candice Bass-Robinson runners, 10 and 1. Elder DeMeo has taken the ride on going up. I wouldn't read too much into that because Candice wouldn't want to put any overweight up on Gold Poker Game. And if DeMeo was on Gold Poker Game, he would have had to put up overweight. So I think those are the 2 principal threats, but I'm happy to bank at number 7. Take my chances, take my happy chances, and bank at number 7, Happy Chance.
Well, Graham and myself, we're all in here with this 3-year-old Daughter of Dynasty. We're hoping that it can be Brett Crawford, Loon Courtois, Hollywood Syndicate, and it's a Dynasty double as well, Final Edition, Happy Chance, and hopefully they can get the job done on the day for the team. That's race number 7, the second leg of the Winter Series for the fillies. Race number 8, which will be the second leg of the Winter Series for the Colts and Geldings. It's over 1,800 meters. It is the World Sports Betting Legal Eagle Stakes, a Grade 3 event set to be run at 15:50. And here, there has been early support for Rockpool from around 5-2 in the market, down 18-10. Hoodspray, he's been steady at 9-2 after much improved last start behind without question. I say much improved because I know he did run second prior to that, but it was, I think, a touch stronger, and he put in a really good performance. So he'll be a horse that I'm sure many people will go for once again. It's Raining William. You mentioned to me that this horse could just be a lively runner. He's at 5-1. He has found early support. And then 11-2 about Pomp and Power, 10s and better bar those. Now, Rockpool, he's going to be the top choice in the race. I think he's a horse that's got tons of ability. I was quite disappointed with his run in the Cape Derby, Graham. When I watched the race, I didn't think he had finished in 5th position. But just looking at it afterwards, I thought for him to come from where he did to actually run into 5th position was a much better run than it did look at first. And I think now being gelded, returning off a rest, I think this horse could be primed to run a big race in this contest, and he's got 55.5. I think he's a horse that's on the up, and he's going to win his fair share of races for the owners.
Yeah, look, he looks to be the leading light for the Snaith outfit. In fact, this race could be called the World Sports Betting Justin Snaith Stakes. Over 1,800 metres. The race is run in honour, of course, of Legal Eagle, who was that great horse trained by Sean Tarry. But Justin Snaith's got the top 4 in the betting. As you mentioned, Rockpool, without question, won the first leg. So that can't be won the Winter Series because without question is heading towards the Daily News. Certainly he's been entered for the Daily News next weekend. So Rockpool, first run up as a gelding. Of course, before the Derby, won 3 in a row. Richard Faree takes the ride. He's got 55.5 on his back. He's a 3-year-old son of Futura. If he doesn't need the run too badly, then he should go really well here. And they may yet have aspirations of trying to qualify him for the Hollywoodbets Durban July. They're also looking to qualify number 10, Hoodspray, as you mentioned, ran second to Baratheon, 2 runs back, and then second to Without Question in the Variety Club Mile, which was the first leg of the Winter Series. In that race, It's Raining William was third, and at the weights, It's Raining William should finish ahead of Hoodspray. It's Raining William is a half-brother to Rain in Holland. So the further he goes, the better he'll be. And although he's probably the highest-rated one-time winner in the country, It's Raining William has got lots of ability. The only horse that could possibly interfere with the Snaith domination here is number 3, Master Adute, but it's been a long time since he won a race. Interestingly, Cabello Matsinyani, who rode Pomp and Power in the Cape Town Met, the World Sports Betting Cape Town Met, has flown down from Johannesburg to reunite himself with Pomp and Power. Now, that might be an indication that Cabello's already been booked to ride Pomp and Power in the Hollywoodbets Durban July. So he obviously understands Pomp and Power. This may be on the sharp side for Pomp and Power. It's strange that he's being ignored in the betting. I say sharp side, he certainly can win over 1,800 metres, but he might just need another run to bring him back to his peak fitness after that superb effort in the Cape Town Met. Certainly, the betting suggests that'll be the case. So the fact that Cabello Matsinyana and not Richard Faree's riding Pomp and Power, I wouldn't read too much into that. I think you've got to throw all 4 of the Snaith runners into your exotics, jackpots and pick sixes. There is a chance that Rockpool might just need it. So you've got to throw all 4 in, but I think that's where the race ends. I think if you put all 4 of his horses in, then you should be confidently through. Can have an upset, of course, but I'm not expecting that.
Absolutely, you're quite right. It should be named the Justin Snaith Stakes here because he has a dominant hand here, and I'm sure one of his runners could certainly come through and get the job done in race number 8. Next up will be race number 9, which is the Betwood Tab Class 4, 1,200 meters the distance. It is the penultimate race on the card. 25 past 4 is the time that you need to get your bets on for this event. And when we have a look at this race, we've got a 3-year-old in the form of Lunch Money, who won his maiden last time out, and he's definitely a horse that's got scope for further improvement. But I think Dance Variety, he's there now. He's ready to win. Last time out, he sort of just hit a flat spot, and then he found his feet and found his momentum again. But it was a bit too late on in the day. Night Tiger had already gone, but I think he'll turn the form around, and I think he'll go close to winning in this lineup. It's interesting that Aldo De Meyer gets a ride now, and Craig has opted to ride Mighty Mac. Not quite sure riding arrangements, obviously, but Aldo has been booked to ride Dance Variety this time out. Whatever it is, I think he's the right horse in the race.
Aldo has a great strike rate for Adam Marcus, and so you've got to watch this team when they pair up. Dance Variety definitely has a big chance. I think this is the kind of race where you've got to go wide. You could run this race 10 times over and get 10 different winners, but clearly Dance Variety is the leading light at the expense of Night Tiger. There's no reason to believe that Night Tiger won't hold his form and run another good race. I think Swift Action is in there with a chance. I think Kimball O'Hara got way outpaced last time and ran on steadily at the line. If in touch with the early pace, then maybe Richard Farik can get the 3-year-old son to give me the green light to come alive. I think maybe better over 1,400 metres, but you can't ignore the fact that there's cut in the ground. The ground's a little bit stickier than it was over the last few months. So Kimball O'Hara is definitely a runner. I think that even Superior Leader, and you've mentioned Lunch Money. I don't think it's an easy race. I think you've got to go pretty wide, but I would put Dance Variety at the top of the pile.
Yeah, that's number 6, Dance Variety, your favorite at 28-10, but it is certainly a competitive event in the final, in the first leg of your final double. Race number 10, which is a Class 3 event over 1,800 meters, set to go off at 5 o'clock. Favorite in this event, it is Night Ruler at 28-10. Royal Watch is at 7-2. It's then a 9-2 and Better Barlows. Now, once again, Justin Snate, he seems to hold a strong hand. He's got a strong hand. He's got the top 2 in the market, and those could be the 2 horses to possibly fight out the finish. But the horse that's got to keep the guys interested, I think, is number 7, Montine, because he's probably finally going over a right trip now, 1,800 meters. He went over it 3 runs back, and on that run, he can certainly get a lot closer to Night Ruler. He's half a kg better off, but I think he could maybe improve, given that he's a 3-year-old and Night Ruler is a 4-year-old who's had way more starts. So I think Montine is probably the runner that we want to keep on the right side here.
When I first looked at the race, I was pretty confident that Montine was going to be the right horse, but you can't ignore the form lines. And yes. Although half a kilogram better off with Night Ruler, on their meeting back in February over 1,800 metres, Night Ruler still got him beat. Now, you're right, Montine may have more scope for improvement. The fact that subsequent to that 1,800 metre run, they went back to 1,400 metres, then up to 1,600 metres, now to 1,800 metres. Pete Botha should have this Son of Louis the King in a really good space. So Night Ruler, Montine, they have to go in, as well, of course, as number 1 Royal Watch. So in terms of Jackpot 2, although there are others with chances, of course there are others with chances. Prometheer was not a bad run. Southern Song has got pretty decent form. The Futurist and Southern Song, they meet each other. I'm going to narrow this down to the top 3 in the betting. I do think it's a match in 3 between Night Ruler, Montine and Royal Watch. I like them in that order. And I think the winner will come from one of those 3.
That's numbers 1, 4 and 7, which are going to be the 3 principal runners for both Graham and myself in race number 10, in what does look to be a race where those 3 could dominate. It is quite an interesting 10-race program at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth on Saturday. It does look to be a card where, if you do go a bit short in the earlier legs, as you've heard from Graham and myself, Apple Catcher and Happy Chance as well do look to be 2 potential pick 6 bankers. And obviously, if those 2 horses do arrive, the guys could be standing in line for some decent dividends on the day, Graham.
Yeah, look, there are a few horses that we've nailed our colours to the mast on. Hopefully they come through. Of course, the big difference between the first leg of the Winter Series and the second leg of the Winter Series, where many of these horses met each other, is that for the first leg of the Winter Series, they were on the summer course.
Yes.
Don't forget we're on the winter course. It's a slightly different configuration. It has a slightly shorter run-in, but I'm not expecting the change in course to in any way affect the outcomes that we've predicted.
Absolutely. Looking forward to the 10 races on the program at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth on Saturday. As you've heard from Graham, it is, of course, on the winter course, so do take note of that. Thanks very much to Graham for his assistance and for his guidance in this show. And all the best, guys. Hopefully you find yourself in the winner's queue come Saturday.